All right, welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the JASMY price that once again, as you can see that we are slowly but surely approaching a very critical level here, which was our previous support. Now we are approaching it as resistance. The question now is, are we going to be able to finally break above it, or we're going to be rejected massively, pushing the price towards the downside once again? All that great stuff in today's video. Also take a look at the macro picture, including the Bitcoin price. We'll also take a look at the stock market because JASMY has not been existing in a bubble. What actually has been happening in the last few months or something like that, most of it is not attributed to what the JASMY project is all about, but it's just like the general market conditions, right? So it's very important to understand what the general outlook is, and then we come back to the JASMY price that we tie everything together, and then we can call it a day. Before we start, I want to kindly ask you to help me spread the video just by delicately tapping the like button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm in understanding that this video, yes, it may be short, but it's still something that is very much relevant. If you're also new to the channel, please subscribe because I do TA on JASMY and a number of other different altcoins on a regular basis. Let me not bomb my mouth too much here, but let's start with the big news that we know this week. There's going to be a lot of volatility. Why? Because there's a Fed meeting on Wednesday. As of now, the market has priced in something like a 99% probability that the rates will be kept at a constant rate. So in the event that the Fed doesn't do anything, I think the market is going to be pretty much stable. But also what Jerome Powell says is something that is going to move markets, as we always do, right? So expect a lot of volatility this week. However, if the Fed comes and they say that they're going to be cutting, I think this can actually send panic waves across the market that the Fed is rushing to fix something that is like major in the financial markets by this. So these are the kind of things that we'll be looking forward to. Obviously, that has got direct influence on the JASMY price set, but I think that we have to understand that here where the JASMY price set is under a main previous support. So we want to see the price moving back above these levels here. We'll be talking about maybe something like 1.7 cents. I think that would give the JASMY price a chance to have at least a relief rally, right? So I'm definitely looking at that very much closely. But when we come here to the Bitcoin price, because we know that, it's pretty much going to be moving just the same way the JASMY price is going to do, we have somewhat of a symmetrical triangle here. Now, these are usually continuation patterns, but in situations where we are in right now, where you can see that it's trying to break out of this pattern, right, and push towards the upside, you'll be looking at a price target of maybe right around a 13% pump, right? That would take the Bitcoin price towards something like $96,000. I think this would be also something that is bullish. So yeah, in a week where we are expecting a lot of volatility like this one, yeah, we should also just be on the outlook of something like that. However, this is a continuation pattern, as I mentioned, and it's also looking like it's also very much possible that this whole thing just breaks towards the downside and then gets into the main support levels that we have here for the Bitcoin price, right around $72,000 or something like that. Just remember also that the way the Bitcoin price is going to be moving is also exactly the same way the JASMY price is going to be moving. So I think for the best of our emotions and our mental health here, we want to be seeing the Bitcoin price at least breaking towards the upside. I think there is actually a bigger chance of that happening because there is still a CME gap right around $86,000 here for BTC. So I'm thinking that yes, with the volatility of the Fed meeting, yeah, something like in a breakout of this symmetrical triangle is possible. Maybe not as high as the big price targets of $96,000 or something like that, but I definitely think that a little bit of a push is something that is actually much more likely. Now, coming back to the JASMY price, that how does that affect the JASMY price? Let me just go ahead and take you to the 4-hourly time from here, and you see that yeah, in as much as we have had this whole capitulation for JASMY, we haven't had some lot of a relief rally, because what usually happens is that of course you are crashing very hard, but you also happen to have something like a little bit of a retracement, and if you're going to be continuously going to the downside, then you do, but at least you have something like this here. So for JASMY, none of that has happened yet, and again, as I was saying, we are revisiting previous support. Now, is it going to be turning into resistance? I think that here in the coming few days, along with the Bitcoin price, what we want to see here for the JASMY price that is to go ahead and maybe range a little bit like this, gather some strength, obviously, and then go for your relief rally if you're going to do something like that. So I think, yeah, we need to take a step one more time at this resistance bar right around 1.5, 1.6, 1.7 cents basically, and at least start to build a range right here. Because when you also take a look at our daily time frames, right, and take a look at the hours, yeah, we have come to prime levels where reversals have actually begun in the last few times that we've gotten down there. Yeah, there is still a possibility of going lower, as you can see with these ones here, but there's also a very good chance that where we have gotten to right around 28 is also an area where you've been supported in the past, actually much more often than these extreme ones. So yeah, slowly but surely we are beginning to see a little bit of encouraging signs happening here on the chart. But we also take a look at the Bitcoin price and we are looking at the RSI. Maybe we can go to the weekly time frame and realize that we are also almost in the same scenario here like we are with the JASMY price. But if you look closely during this uptrend, the Bitcoin price so far has been supported right around 48 mark here on the RSI. So this is the area where we have gotten to, and I would think that if we happen to break below this area here, yeah, that's not going to be looking too good for the Bitcoin price as well as the JASMY price. But since we've actually been supported there multiple times, we can also be looking for a push towards the upside. So you can see how everything is at a tipping point right now, and it's very hard to say, okay, I'm on this side, right? I'm a bull totally or I'm a bear totally. It's just a matter of like waiting it out a little bit, in my opinion, and try to see how all these indicators turn out to be, because we also take a look at the strongest support here for the Bitcoin price, which is around the 50 daily moving average. We are seeing that, yeah, we haven't gotten there just yet, but it's right around $76,000. Now, there's also a scenario in which we never get back there, but the moving average actually catches up with the price, and at some point we get supported right there. So the good news is that we haven't broken below the 50 weekly moving average here, because this actually has been a showstopper in a lot of times, right? It just confirms that the bear market has actually begun, as you can see here with the examples that I'm showing you throughout all the previous cycles here for Bitcoin. So that's something that is very important and something that we'll be looking very much closely also for the JASMY price. But let me also get back and show you what I would think would happen if we happen to get a rejection from the 1.6, 1.5, 1.7 cents level here for the JASMY price. And I think that, yeah, as you can see, we were pretty much supported here where we had previous interactions, but this is not really a strong support in my opinion. I would think that the strongest support is right around this level here, but the bad news is it's sub 1 cent. So yeah, I'll only be sure about this if we break the low here for JASMY right around 1.15 cents basically. If we lose that low, yeah, I think that sub 1 cent here, maybe 0.08 would be a possible region for support here for the JASMY price. That's brutal, obviously, because from the peak would have been looking at something like 87% without any sort of retracement. So it's very important for the JASMY price that we at least break above this previous resistance and show that it's at least it's still alive, right? So we have got a lot of moving parts here. Also, if you take a look at the stock market, things are not looking that very clear either, because when you take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, for example, you see that, yeah, it is still below its 200 daily moving average and still below a resistance level. Yes, we've had a great day in stock markets today, but there is a lot of confusion right there. Take a look at the Nasdaq as well. The Nasdaq itself is bouncing off of the 200 daily moving average. The Dow Jones is below it. We also take a look at things like the Russell 2000, which is the one which is actually very much correlated to crypto. This one is residing on support level, so it's a mixed picture, left, right, and center. Then we also take a look at the S&P 500, and again, it's a confusing picture. We are below the 200 daily moving average, which is really important actually for the stock market. But we're also noticing that there may be, just maybe, a very important shift in markets that we want to see, and I'll tell you how that actually is very much positive for crypto. So over the last 4 years, 5 years, maybe 6, the Magnificent Seven has been the one leading the market and having like the biggest market share, right? So what it means is that most of the capital has been locked within Microsoft, Nvidia, Apple, Google, Meta, and Amazon. But now with the recent dump, we've actually seen that today they were the ones which were down, and the other smaller stocks were the ones which were up. So that's very important, because when I see a broadening market right now, a broadening market also means something very positive for altcoins, because when we have had a broadening market, this is exactly when we've also had like a massive, altcoin season. So it just also came to my mind that, okay, we have also seen pretty much the same thing as we are seeing in the stock market, right? A few select altcoins have actually done well along with Bitcoin, just as we are seeing with the Magnificent Seven stocks, right? So now, is it also time for altcoin season, right? We definitely want to see that rotation happening. That is also something that is positive for the JASMY price. So yes, we see we've got a very complicated picture, more volatility coming in the market. I even forgot to mention the Bitcoin whale, who has actually been shorting the Bitcoin price with $500 million. This is insane. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Normally, I would have said that, yeah, you know what, you don't want to be betting against big money, but I don't know. Usually, we have a lot of volatility towards Fed meeting. We've got a CME gap at 86,000. This guy is going to be liquidated at 85. $0.5 thousand. So I think that it's just an unnecessary risk. Why would you be shorting with $500 billion? That's a lot of money. I mean, you can do something great with it, right? You don't have to be messing with the Bitcoin price. So who knows? Maybe it's just market makers trying to mess up everybody's, emotions and stuff like that. So we'll see how that also plays out. But I think you have a little bit of an understanding of where the JASMY price that is, as well as the Bitcoin price. I'll come up with an update very soon, probably tomorrow. But before I go, I also wanted to invite you to our private trading group where we are taking advantage of the volatility in the market and taking short-term trades, obviously, shorts, longs, whatever the case may be, as long as it's something that is bringing money. So you can join the group via Patreon. The link is going to be somewhere there in the description. See you on the next one. Take really, really good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.